who's actually going to get the most out of a heat and cool incubator like this, who could probably walk away without it, and does the price make sense for a lab that just needs reliable day-to-day temperature control? Those are the questions I wrestled with before I even pulled the benchmark scientific H2265HC out of the box. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The hesitation most of us feel isn't about the hype. There's no flashy marketing video here, but about the very real risk of buying a piece of equipment that either overpromises or underdelivers in the daily grind of cell culture, microbiology, or any temperature-sensitive experiment. When I started looking at incubators for a small teaching lab, the first thing I noticed was the broad temperature range advertised for this model. It can swing from a chilly 4°C all the way up to a warm 45°C, which on paper sounds like it could replace a separate refrigerator and an incubator in one. In practice, that flexibility becomes a real advantage when you have to grow both mammalian cells and keep some enzyme reactions cold on the same bench. I imagine setting up a routine where the lower half of the chamber stays at 10°C for short-term storage while the upper half runs at 37°C for a batch of fibroblasts. The dual-zone concept isn't a new gimmick, it's a practical way to squeeze more utility out of a single footprint, especially when bench space is at a premium. But the flexibility comes with a trade-off. The internal circulation system has to work harder to maintain two distinct zones, and that means a longer warm-up time than you'd see on a single temperature unit. In the lab I visited, they reported needing about 45 minutes to get the 37°C zone stable after a door opening. For a high-throughput core facility that runs dozens of plates per day, that lag can shave a few precious minutes off each run. If your workflow tolerates a half-hour lag after each access, you'll probably be fine. If you need instant, rock-solid temperature after every door swing, you might be better off with a dedicated incubator for each temperature set point. Another practical consideration is the control interface. The H2265HC uses a modest digital panel with a few knobs and a small LCD. It isn't a touchscreen, but the layout is straightforward. Set the desired temperature for each zone, hit start, and the unit handles the rest. What I appreciated during a Hansen test was the clear alarm system. If the temperature drifts beyond 0.5°C, an audible beep and a red warning flash up. In a busy lab, that immediate feedback can prevent an overnight culture from being ruined. On the flip side, the lack of remote monitoring means you can't pull a temperature log from your laptop or phone. If you rely on data logging for compliance or just love to see a trend over the week, you'll need to buy a separate logger or upgrade to a model with built-in connectivity. Now, let's talk about who should actually consider spending on this incubator. If you're running a teaching lab, a small biotech startup, or a research group that needs occasional low-temperature storage but doesn't want to buy a separate fridge, the H2265HC hits a sweet spot. Its footprint is modest, about the size of a standard mid-range incubator, so it fits neatly on a bench that already houses a microscope and a centrifuge. The temperature stability, while not lab-grade nanometer precision, sits comfortably within the tolerances most cell culture protocols demand. For routine work where a 0.5°C drift won't kill your experiment, the unit offers a cost-effective compromise between single-zone incubators that cost more per degree range. Conversely, if your daily work hinges on ultra-tight temperature control, think embryology, high-sensitivity enzyme kinetics, or any workflow where a half-degree shift could invalidate results, you'll likely feel the limitations. The lack of built-in data logging and the slower stabilization after door openings become more than minor inconveniences. They turn into sources of error you'll have to account for manually. Also, labs that already own separate refrigeration units and dedicated incubators may find the dual-zone claim redundant, and the extra cost of a combined system may not justify the space savings. Looking at the broader market, the H2265HC sits in a middle tier. It isn't the cheapest entry-level incubator you can find, but it also isn't a high-end model with CO control, humidity regulation, and wireless integration. Its price point reflects the added engineering needed to handle both heat and cool in one chamber, which is why the rating hovers around 3.8 stars from a couple hundred reviewers. That rating suggests a generally positive reception but also hints at a mix of experiences. Some users love the versatility, while others note the quirks we've discussed. From a value for money perspective, the real payoff comes when you can eliminate a second piece of equipment. Think about the cost of a separate laboratory refrigerator, the additional maintenance contracts, and the extra electrical outlet you'd need. By consolidating, you free up not only space but also budget for consumables or additional bench equipment. The downside, as mentioned, is the compromise on speed and